we should be live on YouTube. We should be live on Twitch. We should be live on Twitter. Thank everybody for tapping in. Again, it's your boy G along with Alec. Another great episode of 6300 brought to you by LA Sports Report. Continue to show love on all platforms. Make sure you subscribe to the show on YouTube. A lot of good things coming there. And as you see, we're here late today because we were reacting to Lakers Warriors. That game is wrapped up. Double OT war just went down between Steph and those Warriors coming back and getting themselves back together following Draymond's return and things, and the Lakers continuing to try to build upon a roller coaster of the season so far. And they went to overtime, double OT in this last game that you guys just saw. Wrapped up 145-144. Alec, what were your first thoughts on what you just saw?
Yeah, double overtime thriller. I thought for sure Braun was going to miss one of those free throws. Like, I told my dad, I was like, I just want one. Like, I just want him to make one because I don't trust him to make both. But he sunk the clutch free throws. I think he was 100% from the line in the game, which that's a rarity for Braun too. So,
right.
But man, that game was, like you said, a war, I guess you could say, because it felt like it was never going to end. No team could kind of just put their foot on the other team's neck. It was like Klay Thompson was shooting 4 of 15 from 3, and then of course he makes the clutch one in the end to sit into OT.
Oh my gosh.
It's like, man, like who is gonna just figure out a way to just finish this one off? But Lakers thankfully got the job done.
Got the job done. To your point, right before the free throws, we saw that Steph had that wide open 3 that put them ahead for a moment.
Yeah.
And that had us nervous. I was like, bro, you can't just let Steph open.
Right.
I know there's been a couple of times where he has come up short in recent games. Plus, been talking online about his misfortune and clutch moments recently. But Steph is still Steph. When you leave him that open, he's gonna knock it down. So he got open after that screen and took a second and caught his breath. Like, I finally got an open shot late in the game like this. All right, cool. Knocked it down easy. With LeBron, 5 seconds left. It's kind of like we're about to talk about NFL stuff later on. Does that mean, 1 minute left on the clock and you left Aaron Rodgers too much time? 5 seconds left on the clock. You with LeBron, it's too much time for him too. He was able to get down and get a basket and got fouled, which led to the victory. So very impressive things there. Just in what we just saw to end the game. But beyond that, and what else we saw in the game, I want to continue to give praise to Anthony Davis.
Absolutely.
This is the AD we've been waiting for. He continues to show up and show out. And in this game, I also want to say this because we've seen in the past, AD has gotten hurt in the past, and he's out, and that's kind of the end, not the end of the season, but in dramatic terms, it's the end of our season with how things have gone with his injury woes. But this time he had injury that seemed like it was going to be serious. All the Twitter fingers got active, and oh no, here we go. Like the season's over. What are we going to do? Even you put in the chat, like, okay, what do the Lakers do if he's hurt for a long time?
Right.
He's going to come back in the fourth quarter, I believe it was, and play the rest of the way and looked like the guy. That was a big factor that we wanted to be, of course, in how we were able to get this victory in the end. So just your thoughts on AD and his recovery this season.
Yeah, all praise to the Most High God that he was able to come back.
I would love to tweet, Lord carry him now. He was able to come back. Thank God.
A classic. That's funny you mentioned that too, because my dad was like, did AD just pull a Paul Pierce? Like he just had to go to the bathroom. No, it wasn't the same. It looked like he really tweaked his leg or whatever. But I was glad to see him come back to the floor because I thought he was going to be done for the game. So I was glad to see him come back to the floor. And he was probably the most important just because of what he brings on both sides of the floor. The defensive impact, even if he wasn't blocking shots, he was challenging shots and making it harder for guys to finish at the rim. And it just changes the whole complexion of the game when you have a disruptor like that on the defensive side. And then he's been consistent effort-wise on both ends for all season. And I think they pointed out today that he's played like 44 of the 46 games. Like this is the most consistently he's played in years. So it's great to see. If he stays on that track, he'll be eligible for these regular season awards, which would be great too, because he should be in defensive player of the year conversations. And I mean, if they had a better record, he could be in MVP conversations the way he's been playing individually, but it doesn't look like they'll be finishing top 4. This was kind of a battle of the mid in a sense, even though we got some superstars in the matchup, but the way these teams have been playing of late, it was kind of a battle of the mid here.
Yeah, and that's a playing matchup right there for us.
Exactly. Someone tweeted that this Lakers Warriors playing at the end of the season is going to move mountains. But yeah, AD, all credit to AD. He's been really, really consistent this year. There's really not much you can criticize him for this season.
Yeah, definitely salute to him. Want to continue to give him his praise. Like I said before, we've been loud with our criticism and our hate for him and things in the past. We've been injured and out and dealing with his woes and things. This year, he's definitely gotten right, and is the guy that we've been waiting to pass the keys to. And it looks like he really can do that. I also will say, while we do want to pass him the keys, LeBron himself is still that guy. LeBron had 30, 20, and 10. Like, as much as we keep on saying we want AD to take over and pass him the keys and things, LeBron still shows that while he may not while we still do want to pass AD the keys, that while the keys are still in LeBron's hands, he can carry us to great extents and have another great performance tonight. And I know we've had our jokes about Bron and things in the past, but I do want to give him his praise, especially on nights like this where he showed out, as you mentioned at the top of the show, how he iced the game at the very end as well. So, yeah, just salute to him and salute to this squad. Those are our top two guys. I want to praise them. And, yeah, definitely, you want anything else you want to say about LeBron?
Yeah, I mean, 36, 20, and 12. Sensational night there. I was glad with that last possession, too, that he put his head down and got to the rim, because occasionally he'll choose the fadeaway, like choose the mid-range in that.
Got to the rim. He didn't pass. Oh, exactly. Thank God.
Yeah, like, thank you, Ron. And I was begging for the last, 3 possessions before that when, D'Lo turned the ball over 3 straight times. I was like, please get the ball in LeBron's hands. Let him take us home. He was playing so well.
Yeah.
And D'Lo was playing great before then, too. I'm not just shitting on D'Lo. He was scoring well, and he made up for it. He made up for those 3 terrible turnovers with transition 3. And that was huge for us to get us back in the game at that point too. So credit to those guys offensively. Reeves was great. Vando was great on the defensive side. Everybody chipped in here when we needed them to. So good team win there.
Definitely good stuff. I wanted to point out, because you talked about some of the key plays he made. Well, there was some woes at the end that were saved by LeBron. Prior to that, D'Lo did have a good game, and didn't want to acknowledge that again. He really has been cooking, at least all of January, as the trade rumors have ramped up and all of that.
Trade deadline D'Lo.
D'Lo is a top 5 player in the league right now. So all kinds of stuff like that. But it's somewhat serious, I guess. He definitely has been doing his thing, and deserves acknowledgement. Has his recent play saved him from a trade? Or you still think, even from what you continue to see, that we need to go get someone else to replace him right now?
Yeah, I mean, he's got that trade value at an all-time high right now. The way he's playing, trade deadline.
We can't get a Trae Young deal in with. He's playing like this.
He's been really, really good, especially the shot making. And part of it too is just more opportunity. We know he has this in him offensively when he can get it going and get in a rhythm. And he was playing in a bench role, and he got inserted in the starting lineup and has taken off from there. Yep. So he's had it in him, and he's showing us and showing teams why he has been an all-star in past seasons. But yeah, I think it's still trade time. I think Doris mentioned it earlier in this game, where him and Reeves, because of what they bring you offensively, you need them on the floor and you need them to compete. And that's what they did defensively in this game. They were competing. While they're not the best perimeter defenders, they were at least putting forth the effort to make guys have to work for their buckets. So that's all you can ask for them, because you want the offense, and the defense isn't quite as strong. But come playoff time, matchup wise, it's hard to quote unquote hide those guys or get away with playing an offensive specialist. You need guys that aren't gonna give up the slack on the defensive side. So I think he still probably has to get moved, but credit to him for playing really good ball this past week.
Yeah, definitely a hard thing to deal with right now, especially seeing how well he's playing. We don't want to get caught too much into the moment as well as he looks, because the goal still is the playoffs. And we've seen in the playoffs that going up against other squads with premier guards, that he can get targeted a little bit and become somewhat of a liability at times on the court, which we don't need in those situations where we need guys beyond LeBron and AD to really step up. So, yeah, as well as it is, as much as I've been a fan myself, I snuck in on the tag. He's not leaving. I'd love for him to stay here. But the reality is we can't get you caught into right now, and still think looking forward that bringing in somebody that can be a little bit more helpful on defense, so we don't have to go to double OT, dealing with these guys shooting threes on us. While that wasn't the main thing, I don't want to put the length of the game onto him. But just for an example of what we just saw, having someone that could help alleviate some of the pressure. Because we even saw some of a throwback game from Clay and guys like that who look decent in moments a little bit. Maybe not throwback game, but he played well. We saw Steph and Clay kind of do their thing at times, and having a guard that can somewhat slow that down more than what we've seen from our guys right now definitely would be helpful. So yeah, we'll see what moves are made. We got I think just about a week at this point away from the deadline. I think it's the 5th, if I remember that correctly. So yeah, just about a week away.
Yeah.
And we'll see what is going on. If we do keep D'Lo, I will be happy as a supporter of his, but I would definitely still want to see him step up his play and prove why he's staying around as we have a push to make. Again, we keep our eyes onto that. Before I get into the standings and all of that, any of the players you want to highlight that you saw in this game, or if you go on to the weekly breakdown this last week, you want to highlight it all?
With this Lakers squad?
Yeah.
As I mentioned briefly, Jared Vanderbilt, I think he was huge defensively. Just as you mentioned, like us not having those guards on the perimeter that can keep up with them. Having Vando in there who can match up with some of the elite guards and at least make it harder. Steph still got 40 points, but that's with 2 overtimes as well. So like he was making him work for his buckets, and that's all you can really ask for on the greatest shooter of all time. But I think fans have been clamoring for more minutes for him and less for Torian Prince, and I think we've seen it pay dividends when we've gotten it. Torian Prince, while he's a much better three-point shooter than Vanderbilt, when he's not hitting the three, he's not providing a whole lot else other than his defense. So if we can have Vando slotted in there with Braun and AD and D'Lo out there, I think it's worked out in our favor with him getting more minutes as he's gotten healthier this year. So I wanted to highlight him. And that was pretty much it, because it was a pretty short rotation, at least in this game, which I think is a plus too, with Ham figuring out the mix of guys that he wants to play together.
Right. I'll say with that, and kind of to a Torian note, there as Laker fans do whenever we sign somebody, we see who a player is and we know who the player is. But once you put something purple and gold, we're like, okay, maybe he actually could elevate a little bit more than what we know him to be. And we had higher hopes for Torian and thought he'd be somewhat more of even close to a Jared Vanderbilt type of player in this year. And he hasn't quite been that. He kind of has been what we have known him to be, respectfully, and it is what it is. Same with guys like Cam Reddish and guys who I don't really think I saw in this game. You talk about short.
He's hurt. He's out a couple weeks.
My apologies. But just in regards to guys we have been wanting to really see step up, even when he was playing, Cam had a moment, and then he kind of came back to reality, and we were trying to still figure out what was best for him. So, hopefully we can get more out of Vando, though, who has shown great flashes at times and did look well tonight. Looking forward to how this team continues to build itself up and maximizing the rotation as Ham has it currently. Go ahead.
Quick question. Like, would you want to see more of Christian Wood? I mean, I feel like this is a question that happens on every team he's on, kind of, because like you see the offensive talent and his ability to rebound, but I know he is kind of a defensive liability at the position too, and I think that's a major reason why he doesn't get as much. But he only played 11 minutes in out of 58, because there was 2 overtimes, and like he can provide you with some bursts at least of offense. So I don't know.
I thought that was interesting. Also, knowing that going up against the Warriors, that we can use our size to our advantage heavily. Having a guy like him down low as they're trying to figure out, as they're getting Draymond back in the fold, how they have young guys down there now. I know Kuminga's starting to find his footing truly now, but other guys like I think it's Trace Jackson Davis, I think who his name is.
On the Warriors.
Yeah, and other guys. Just saying for just matchup wise, as we're going up against a team that's smaller and we have bigs we can throw at them, it would be nice to see Wood get a little bit more playing time. But it was what it was, and the guys that were out there were able to make do as they did. So yes, I would like to see more Christian Wood going forward. Again, like I just said with Torian Prince, another guy who we had higher hopes for once we put the purple and gold on, who may not actually have the ceiling that we hoped, but I still think he can be utilized in ways beyond what is being used so far. So trying to get more out of him offensively would be great, as he has shown at times he can be good on that side. And then you can I don't want to say hide him because he should be able to step up defensively with the size that he has, but being able to put him around other defenders that can help him a little bit, put him next to Evander, put him next to Bron, of course, put him next to AD, put him in those lineups if we can in the spurts that could be useful. And yeah, he could be used rather than just being pushed to the end of the bench there. So yeah, I think there are still ways to expand with this squad, but seeing what rotation we had this tonight, able to work and get the victory, I was happy that it was able to do so. So yeah, we'll see. Do you have a thought on that as well?
No, I mean, I just echo that because I feel like, especially like next to AD, that while he has the defensive deficiencies, I think you can kind of hide, like you said, in a sense, next to AD with AD's size. But yeah, I feel like he could maybe provide us with in a game like this where we have the size advantage, could provide us with another advantage there on the offensive end. But I mean, like I said, the short rotation worked out in this game, so I wasn't like not really complaining. I just have found it interesting, like his usage. I guess in his last couple of teams, because it felt like with Dallas that he could be a starter there as well. But clearly, there's something there that the coaches feel like maybe he's not providing as much as we as fans like see that he potentially could be. So
yeah, so we'll see what they figure out. But the R pieces that can be utilized, we'll see as this thing goes along. So then we keep our eyes on that. Taking a step beyond this Warriors game, which was great, but going beyond it with this Lakers squad, looking at the standings right now, we still are sitting at the 10 seed, 23-23, back to 500. Yeah, yet again, I believe after this game, which I believe is updated too.
I think it'll be 24 now that they won this one.
23, so just over 500. Can you see us climb more in the West, or you think we're going to be hovering around the play-in range all season long?
I guess like with where we're at now, like 4 games out of the 6. Because yeah, I mean, I think it'll be somewhere between the 6 and 10 range. Just the way they're playing right now, like I don't see if a trade is made, then I could see maybe a jump, kind of like they had last season. I mean, people have mirrored this season's record to last season's record with Russell Westbrook, and it's been like identical, which is kind of funny to see, since he was the vampire that they called him in the locker room, and they're getting the same result without him. But yeah, I mean, I think if they make a trade, you could potentially see a kind of a bounce in their step where maybe they make a run and bounce into kind of middle of the pack, like 4 or 5 range. But it's going to be hard to catch those teams if they kind of stay with the same roster. I see more play-in range, as you're saying. Yeah.
And then with that being the case, even though we are in the play-in range, we see that once you get in the playoffs, that once you're in, anything can happen.
Yeah.
So again, looking at these top squads and how these things are lined up right now, do you fear a lot of these teams, or do you think we will lose to a lot of these teams in the playoffs? Or do you think we can make another run this season with how things may play out?
I think these teams, I mean, as they are ahead of the Lakers currently, I think these teams, all of these teams except for maybe the Jazz, are capable of beating the Lakers in a series that are ahead of them. But I think the teams that actually would beat them in a series are just the Clippers, the Nuggets, maybe the Suns. But the other series, just partially due to youth or not having been in that playoff position before. Like the Pelicans are still a very young team. The Jazz aren't really like I don't think the Jazz are going to be higher than the Lakers in a little bit.
Yeah.
The Kings kind of have their own issues, which you did a little rant about in this past episode. And then the Timberwolves are youth and just got to prove it to me. I think the Timberwolves could beat the Lakers in a series. But the Thunder, I think the Lakers could still beat. But yeah, I mean, they're all formidable opponents at this point. Like no team is a lock. Like the Lakers sweep them or the Lakers get them out of here in 5 games. Like they would all be competitive series, I think, to an extent.
I don't think it'll be the same fate as we had last year. We were able to take advantage of some of these teams because of our lower seeding. Also, we caught the Grizzlies. We will beat them either way, but
yeah, that was a great matchup.
Yeah, the Grizzlies had their interesting end of the season, and we played the Warriors, who we know we can get ahead of, who now are in the picture right now. As you can see, they have the 12 spot. But other squads that are in here, I echo what you said about like the Timberwolves, Clippers, Nuggets being the real threats, and everybody else we may have a chance against. So we'll see where we can continue to climb to, and seeing what we'll get. Things go along. We'll surely be talking about as things go forward. And to that point, as we do each week, about this time next week, where will we be? We see where our next couple of games are. Just played the Warriors tonight. About this time next week, we'll have played the Rockets on Monday, the Hawks on Tuesday, the Celtics on Thursday, and then here again next Saturday, versus the Knicks in New York. We're on our Grammy stretch right now. All away games that you see in this picture. How the next three at least are 1, 2, 3, 4. Our next four go
at Boston too. That's probably another overtime game with Boston, but
maybe.
I do you think the DeJounte Murray trade happens before January 30th?
That would be interesting. It would have to happen
in the next 2 days.
I mean, literally the next 2 days.
It could happen. I feel like NBA news be dropping on Mondays sometimes. That would be interesting. I mean,
if the trade is on Monday and we lose a guy for a game, does that make us lose the Rockets game, or are we still survive that game without DeJounte?
Honestly, like I haven't really been paying attention to the Rockets of late. I feel like they've fallen off pretty hard. Like they're at the 11 or 12 spot right now.
Us, yeah.
They're right behind us, yeah. And they were streaking early in the season. They've got some young talent there. Yeah, 3-7 their last 10. It's a team that the Lakers should beat, but that's never a guarantee with the Lakers currently constructed.
As a full team, yes. But I'm saying in the context of if a trade gets made and now all of a sudden we're down to D'Lo or whatever, do you still think we get the job done? That's what I was trying to say.
If Bron and AD are still there, like I think they should still get the job done. So,
and then ironically, like I just said, we put the Hawks right after that, so he could be switching his teams right before the game. So we'll see how that could play out. Definitely be an interesting one. But as we know, things can go. We'll probably win 2 of the 4. It should be all 4.
They're a 500 team, so I would say 2 of 4.
That's how it's going to go. The 2 I'll pick are the Hawks and the
Knicks are good right now, so the first 2 probably.
Yeah, so we'll see how that plays out. But definitely we tuned into it and excited for things that are going to be on the way for the Lakers as always going forward. Anything else you want to say?
Yeah, I like to our discussion there. Like that was one of my questions. Like, what is this Lakers team's identity? Like, I was watching this game against the Warriors, and I'm like, what is their calling card? Like, what is their go to? It's just like I guess give LeBron the ball in clutch moments, or let D'Lo run a pick and roll in clutch moments, I guess. But this team isn't their hallmark isn't really defense. Like AD kind of is that guy for us, that anchor. I guess they're pretty good in transition, but that's not always what they're trying to get to either. Yeah. I was just watching this team, I'm not sure if they have an identity really, and I think that partially is a Darvin Ham issue too, right. to the point of a lot of Lakers Twitter that's always calling for Ham's job. I think that's a little bit extreme, but I guess that's what I would be looking for from Ham, that this Laker team can kind of establish an identity, and maybe a trade can help that, and guys slotting into more defined roles can help that. But that was kind of my question.
I definitely understand it. I guess someone to define it right now is it's the LeBron show still, and whenever anybody wants to step up alongside him, then they'll surely join into the party. But we still rely on Bron to be the main guy for the squad, and that can't be our full identity. Though LeBron can be that guy. I've seen the playoffs and things in the past that we need other guys to have more cemented roles to really be able to fall back on that could carry us when need be. So, I don't have a clear answer to that either. It is, like I said, a LeBron show for the moment, and hopefully we can get more identity beyond him as things go along. As I pointed out with AD, though, AD has stepped up all season long. He's been playing great. But again, it still feels like it's if you want to add to what I said, it's LeBron, AD duo, and everybody else is kind of just feeding them and doing their thing and just doing enough to keep us afloat, rather than having cemented roles that they can rely on. So yeah, we'll see if a trade clears that up, or we'll see if, as things continue to go along, Ham can get his hands out of his pockets, as fans joke about, and can get these guys some more clear roles as things go along. But definitely a good point that we'll keep tracking as the season plays out. So yeah, good stuff on that part. We'll continue to follow them all season long, as we do here on LA Sports Report. Make sure you guys are following the platform there. We appreciate all the love that's being shown, and we'll continue to just bring you great LA content as things go along.